You think you've moved on. Days pass, smiles return. But then, something small, almost trivial, pulls you under. A song, a scent, a memory. And suddenly, you're drowning in a past you thought you buried. So, are you healed? Or just numb enough to function? Silence, sometimes, is not peace. It's avoidance. It's survival disguised as progress. This is where we begin, not with wounds that bleed, but with ones that whisper when it's quiet enough.
Some memories don't live in your mind. They live in your shoulders, your stomach, your breath. They appear as tension, as pain, as exhaustion that sleep can't cure. You may not remember what happened, but your body does. It flinches at sounds, tenses at names. It aches without explanation. This isn't weakness. It's wisdom written in muscle. It's survival encoded in skin. If your body could speak, what would it say about what you've survived?
You wonder why closeness feels like danger, why you flinch at kindness, why love, when offered, makes you suspicious. Sometimes trauma doesn't scream. It whispers, "Don't trust them." It convinces you that affection is a trap, that the people you love will always leave. So you push them away first, or you cling too tightly, not because you don't care, but because you care so much you're terrified to lose it. Unhealed wounds echo in our relationships. We recreate the past, not out of choice, but because it feels like home.
You get bumped in a hallway, and your heart races like you've just escaped danger. A casual phrase from someone you love feels like a knife, and you shut down or explode. But deep inside, you know, it wasn't about this moment. Your body remembers what your mind has tried to forget. The overreaction isn't random. It's a code, a buried memory trying to break the surface. You're not broken. You're responding to a wound that never got to heal in safety. Triggers don't mean you're weak. They mean your system still believes it's not safe. Healing begins when you stop apologizing for the alarm and start listening to what it's protecting. You try to recall your childhood, but it's like flipping through blank pages. Moments vanish, years feel like fog. You remember how you felt, but not what happened. This isn't forgetfulness, it's protection. When trauma overwhelms, the mind builds a wall, not to erase, but to preserve you. You're not broken for not remembering, you're resilient for having survived what your memory couldn't hold. But memory doesn't stay gone forever. It returns in fragments, a sound, a dream, a scent, scattered like puzzle pieces dropped in the dark. Healing is learning to sit with those fragments, not forcing them to make sense, but listening to the truth they carry. Because when you begin to remember, you're not just recalling the past, you're reclaiming your story.
You've seen the signs, the numbness, the gaps, the overreactions. Maybe you're realizing there's more inside you that hasn't been said, hasn't been felt, hasn't been released. But here's the truth. Healing doesn't begin with answers. It begins with attention, with noticing, with pausing long enough to say, yes, this still lives inside me. Maybe your first step isn't therapy or forgiveness or letting go. Maybe it's just sitting still, letting the silence speak, and finally, listening.
Maybe the pain didn't disappear. Maybe it never fully will. But pain that is seen, pain that is heard, starts to soften. Healing isn't about erasing your past. It's about walking with it, gently, until it no longer drags behind you. Some wounds never fully close, but they stop bleeding when we stop hiding them. So if all you did today was notice, then today you healed a little more than yesterday.
According to leading psychological perspectives, trauma often goes unnoticed, not because it's absent, but because it's internalized, hidden in behaviors, sensations, and silences. Each of the signs explored in this video points to subtle yet powerful indicators of unresolved trauma. Emotional numbness is not merely apathy. Clinically, it is a protective mechanism, the nervous system's way of minimizing risk by shutting down emotion. Unexplained physical symptoms often represent what the psyche cannot express in words. Somatic pain is the body's archive, a record of what remains unspoken. Relationship difficulties reflect patterns developed in unsafe environments. Disrupted attachment can lead to either hypervigilance or withdrawal, both born from unmet emotional needs. Overreactions to small triggers are not overreactions at all. They are accurate reflections of unprocessed pain being activated by present cues. Memory gaps, especially from childhood, may be forms of dissociative amnesia, a psychological barrier erected to protect the mind from harm too great to bear at the time. From a clinical lens, healing does not mean erasing these symptoms. It means decoding them. It involves recognizing that these fragments, once misunderstood, are in fact signals of a system trying to heal. Awareness of these patterns is the first milestone in trauma integration. Not everyone is ready to face what was buried, but those who begin to recognize these signs, they are not regressing, they are beginning.